We're back! Time to come back and play the part people probably would play first, because it's the one that's listed first, after the main campaign anyway. Orpheus Ascending. Take your brain for a ride through the laser grid and explore the philosophy of love, death, and resurrection with Hypatia and Sarabai. The classic laser mechanics of the series are pushed to the limit in unexpected ways, testing your ability to think differently. I'm doomed. I don't stand a chance. I'm scared. If a thing loves, it is infinite. William Blake, who's probably dead and finite. It does seem like they made a giant pyramid that you could only access by flying, which just seems rude.
All right, I think that's it. The new body's ready for the transfer. How's the reassembly algorithm?
Done.
Well then, somebody just needs to go in there and disentangle the data. Ah, and here comes our expert.
Thank you for agreeing to this one, Kay. Perhaps together we can right an old wrong. When I was lost in my own grief, I spent a lot of time thinking about Hypatia and Sarabai. How they found each other, how they lost each other, and how beautiful it would be if we could reunite them. For the longest time, it was only a daydream, but not anymore. In the myth of Orpheus, the ancient bard descends into the underworld to bring back his beloved wife, who died in a tragic accident. With the power of his music, he convinces Hades and Persephone to free her. But he is told that she must walk behind him, and he must not look back at her until they have left the underworld. And so, of course, in every version of the myth, he looks back. Because he doesn't trust the gods, or because he is an imperfect man, or because he simply forgets. And death is triumphant once again. We've accepted that triumph for a long time, because we had to, because what else could we do? But the world changes, and we are not the frightened, powerless creatures we once were. Perhaps it's time to say enough, and let Orpheus complete his ascent.
Well, that's a red desert. Oop.
You will have to collect all of Sarabai's data fragments so that we can reconstruct her personality. I'll monitor you from here, just like last time.
Good luck, kiddo.
Oop. We are now back in a simulation. They pulled the classic little environmental glitches because we're essentially back in the first game's kind of setting, whereas everything so far has been in a functional physical space aside from the visions you get very occasionally. I wonder if there's any kind of logic to the Orpheus story. Like, why not look back, or is it really just like another arbitrary like gamble or game by the gods? Just this is the term for no particular reason. It's such a disproportionate and horrible punishment for something that seems so nonsensical. That's just like a frustrating story. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there's numbers. There's some more. Hello? Ooh, there's an old sound we haven't heard for a while. Open message, not goodbye. Was Hypatia one of the people that we lost when the previous settlement was destroyed? It's like the most that's happened to them so far, kind of. Oh my god, that just kept going. To Sarabai, not goodbye. It's from Hypatia. I don't know what this is. I don't know why I'm writing this. In all likelihood, you can't even read this, because so little of your consciousness is left. And what's left is your battery is dying. So it was Sarabai that we lost, not Hypatia. They say it's impossible to recover you, and the backups were all destroyed. I wish you'd backed yourselves up in New Jerusalem before we left, but space was so limited, and we would have had to wait so long. Except, of course, it's nothing compared to the empty years that stretch before me now. I don't have the words to express what you mean to me. I tried to sum it all up, to say something elegant and beautiful and perfect, and I can't. Maybe it can't be said. Maybe it only exists as days and years lived together, a sequence of moments bound together like a string of lights defying the darkness of the sky. I don't know. All I know is that this is not goodbye. It may be the end of you, of us, of who I was, but I will not say goodbye. Love you forever, Hypatia. All the messages are missing besides that. That's sad. We used to spend so much time on these computers reading things out and whatnot. I did like the serpent character. It was an interesting interaction to have. Alright, let's just follow the number order. I wonder if this level even has like secrets, or if it's just like a raw level. Whoa, the QR codes. There is no greater joy than discovering something that you had never imagined. In that moment, you understand that the world is better than it seems. QR codes are back. Yield. Got an inverter. Can use that to cut off that beam. Yeah, it's a lot of the Egyptian-looking tile stuff, which they did, I think, they had to make it for the prologue anyway, because they were like kind of faking us out with the Elohim stuff. Probably had some of it on hand. Well, there she is. I don't know what this one does. It could be the third connector that I have to let up for this, maybe? Like, maybe interrupting it actually breaks it? I was hoping that interrupting it would break this barrier and let me maybe consider ways of sneaking through. Huh. Okay. Nope, that's the whole puzzle. Don't know why there's a connection here then. I guess it's just so that this can be attached to this without me interacting with it, so that it's preemptively causing a beam to be there.
When I was born, the first thing I felt was that I was alone. Not that I was lonely, but that I was separate, singular. There was the world, and there was myself, a contained entity. And this sense of separation, of a distinct self, was delightful. Individuality itself was a source of constant joy and wonder. What could be more incredible than to be able to say, I am?
We have the first fragment. Everything's looking good on our end.
That was a lot of code that we can't really unpack. Maybe someone in the comments might, but I'm not typing all that into like a, what, maybe a hex translator. Crossing the river. On some level, I always can't help but think that, like, if there is a way for me to solve it by plugging it in somewhere, then why can't 1K do it? Seems like he should have it solved then. Hear me out. Ah! Yeah, so not quite. This connects two of them. Huh. Just the one. Just need the one connector. And I should be able to shoot straight through to there, I think. There you go. Matter of causing enough connections. The thing that slightly choked me up was the fact that, like, just because it's the same color doesn't mean I can go through it. So, like, my first attempts to try to interrupt things, I knew I just had to interrupt this further to the left to create a space. I was trying to shoot through the blue beam, but of course a blue beam can't go through a blue beam either. No beams can go through other beams. They always interrupt. That was just a weird gap I messed with for too long.
As I grew, I realized that the more I developed this sense of self, the more enjoyable it became simply to exist. It wasn't selflessness that improved existence, but refinement of the self. When the ancients said that ego is something to set aside, they got it all wrong. Ego is something to nourish and shape, a work of art.
The reconstruction's working. Keep going, 1K.
The secret is to be chock full of ego. Okay, so you need a red beam to come all the way through here. This is continually broadcasting a blue beam. It will be in my way. So I guess part of the question is potentially like, how do I get this to have stored a red beam? So I can sync it up with that, which I believe means it'll try. Yeah, it'll try to reach it when I'm stepping on here. I can do that part remotely. But the problem is that we have a blue beam going straight across the screen at the same height. And I don't see opportunities to change height. And that blue beam will cut off our red beam so that it can't connect. There's a quirk we need to unpack about how this works. Huh. No, I think I get it. You can see that from here, so that should cut off the beam there, and the second beam should go to the storage device. A modification of what we did earlier. I was literally about to talk about how it seems impossible on paper to proceed, and then I registered what to actually do.
My insights into the value of the self were genuine, I think. But of course, I was completely inexperienced. In fact, in many ways, I was like a human child. So I began to resent everything that intruded on that sense of self. My social obligations to the others, the leadership of Athena and Cornelius, even the obvious limitations imposed on us by our situation. Why did I have to exist in this particular historical moment, saddled with the task of reconstructing civilization?
Only have X number of beams. So I think drawing things out is going to be our focus here. That seems to be like the theme they're iterating on. All systems compromised. You can recover peace, God, eternity, and pain. I wonder if it's a choice or if you just get all of them when you want them. An Ethical Philosophy of Life by Felix Adler. User highlighted. It is upon those we love that we must anchor ourselves spiritually in the last moments. The sense of interconnectedness with them stands out vividly by way of the contrast at the very moment when our mortal connection with them is about to be dissolved, and the intertwining of our life with theirs, and living in the life that is in them. Got lost in the syntax there. And the intertwining of our life with theirs, the living in the life that is in them, is but a part of our living in the infinite manifold of the spiritual life. The thought of this, as apprehended, not in terms of knowledge but in immediate experience, begets the peace that passeth understanding, and it is upon the bosom of that peace that we can pass safely out of the realm of time and space. Eternity. These do feel like the 4 keywords that would like summarize Ad Astra or something. Eternity revealed by Theo Erkenwald. User highlighted. In what sense am I a Christian, then, if I care so little for dogma? In the sense that in everything that I do and think, I follow the revelation of Jesus Christ. The greatest of all things is love. Love is the nature of God, and so equally the nature of that which was created in his image. This I have learned through the revelation that is daily life. Through toil and misery and strife and that infinite power which brings relief and joy. Thus I reject those who believe that the ordinary love of mortal beings is limited and that it ends with death. Rather, it is through love that we perceive the immortality of the soul, for it reveals that eternity is conceivable to the human mind when it is filled with love. It is because we know that we can love another forever that we know that we are the children of God. God. Essays, first series. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Let me double check real quick. Isn't that the not the creator of BoJack Horseman or something? No. Extremely not. Not even close. Listen, we all get a dumb moment from time to time. I was thinking of Raphael Bob Waxberg. Not even a particularly close name. Just Raphael versus Ralph, I guess. Ralph Waldo. User highlighted. Thus are we put in training for a love which knows not sex, nor person, nor partiality, but which seeks virtue and wisdom everywhere, to the end of increasing virtue and wisdom. We are by nature observers, and thereby learners. That is our permanent state, but we are often made to feel that our affections are but tents of a night. Though slowly and with pain, the objects of the affections change, and the objects of thought do, as the objects of thought do. There are moments when the affections rule and absorb the man and make this happiness dependent on a person or persons, but in health, the mind is presently seen again, its overarching vault, bright with galaxies of immutable lights. And the warm loves and fears that swept over us as clouds must lose their finite character and blend with God to attain their own perfection. Pain. Archived emails. Username corrupted. User highlight. I don't have much time left. I never thought it would end this way. Never thought I would die alone, sitting around in my apartment, wondering if things would have gone differently if we'd gotten that stupid grant. Mostly, though, I just wonder why we're not together. I still don't understand. I don't know why you had so much pain inside you. I don't know why you let it infect everything we had. I don't know why you couldn't see my love for you. Why you twisted everything I said. I was angry and disappointed for so long, but now I just wish I could have found some way to make that pain go away. I would give anything for that. I wish you were here. That's brutal. A relationship was lost, and then the apocalypse happened, and their final thoughts are about the person that they are no longer with. And we're left to wonder about any level of reciprocity, Jesus Christ, that may or may not have been there. Whether or not it was a bridgeable relationship, or if the person involved was right to step away. Okay, so blue beam ends puzzle. We're probably once again interrupting the beam because that's like the theme we're working with. It's kind of interesting dealing with this. I feel like this didn't quite happen to quite this extent in the main campaign, but this is very much like a Portal level sequence where you're like specifically getting down to the iterations of a specific idea in a very focused way. So ideally I would shoot a beam at that receiver on the wall, because I would cut off the beam earlier. Maybe I can still do. Except it'll cut off this. Yeah. So I was like, if I can shoot at the receiver, then it'll intercept the beam coming out of that, which means that it won't intercept the beam here, and it's free to go through. But something has to be on this for me to walk across the room and go get the reward. So it closes instantly. So that part of the idea don't work so great. I'm wondering if a shallower angle like this might help. I'm wondering if something specific might happen here. That's interesting. I believe I had a pretty good idea here. I just need to move this further to the right, I guess. Maybe even further right, like over here? No. Oops. So with it set like this, we're cut off entirely, and you can even get the blue beam from you. That's annoying. Because the problem with the previous placement was that I couldn't get the beam past it. If I'm this side of the beam that's going into that, then I can get then to shoot forward through the empty space. But now the problem there's no fixing this. Now the problem is that it locks directly on this exact spot. Let's see. Can I get even a little more space? It don't seem like it. I don't think it's possible to put this down without cutting the beam. Yep. I felt like a good solution too. Okay, it's so annoying that you can't just put something on this side of the button instead of in the middle of it. I assume it's not like a setting. Yeah, I assume they wouldn't make like an exception to that rule or anything. Because it would be really unsatisfying if the solution to the puzzle was to go into your settings. So... it's so annoying. Just push the button without getting in front of this beam, please. Blah. And I can't see that receiver, so I can't shoot that over there. But if it's on this side where it won't get in the way, now its beam is in the way. Yerp. Literally both of its beams are getting eaten up by this one connection right now. Ugh. I trapped myself where I can't experiment with it because it was trapped. It was getting itself stuck. I'm sitting here wondering if there's any like clever use of going a back way to be had. I don't think this generally helps. Oh. Oh, it'll cut the door. It closes the door if I go that way. Which means that it permanently cuts itself off, and then I can get it.
With that focus on the self, also came an enormous and increasingly overwhelming fear of death. The pleasure of existence seemed almost erased by the possibility of its ending. If it was possible not to be, if the self had an ending, even in the distant future, then how could anything have meaning? I spent far too much time imagining that last moment, the moment just before I stopped existing. How could I possibly face that?
The trick is you don't get a choice. Hello, strange ladies just in the distance. Oh. Like there's a little bit of a, like, that's the neat thing, you don't element to it. But yeah, like you don't, when you don't get a choice.
I've inserted some code that might help you bypass a few puzzles. It's not the most elegant work I've ever done, but it'll do the job.
Does your hand wave at them inserting the thing in that don't make no sense? Hello. I was looking at the floating island thing, but then there's that. Maybe that, I guess that must be like the final puzzle complex this time around. There's a chunky number of puzzles in this game, in this campaign. So the level we played before had 3 worlds, and worlds normally had 8 puzzles each, so this one has 2 worlds worth. It's already 5. The base game had 12 worlds worth, so having 5 here is already half as long as the base game, terrifyingly. Got a computer waiting for us by 7. But I see how we're getting a little off track here by wandering around. It's pretty out here. Chain. You can't turn it back off, so it's just there to be it's just there to be a reveal. For you to be like, whoa. So you open up when that has a red connector on it. There's an entire wall of red connectors, but all of them are currently attached to... Okay, I can't shoot that. Oh, there's glass there. Gotcha. So red is coming from there and then shooting through here. And so we need to remove every individual barrier so that beam can make it all the way to the red receiver. But the issue is that these first 5 are red receivers and everything else is blue. All of these are connected to the one above them, so it's just a single change that needs to be made to fix them all. Oh. Although the blue's not connected to anything by default. Okay. Barely a puzzle, but it's just find the way to connect the blue beam that causes it to exactly go the right amount. Is it equidistant? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not really. There's kind of like a sweet spot that makes them intersect at a right spot between the two of them, and that's all there really is to it.
Looking back, it's embarrassing how solipsistic I became. I really thought that I could construct my identity without any reference to the outside world. Like I could just will myself into existence. But it just didn't work. And it made me miserable. Everything felt hollow and meaningless, overshadowed by the idea of death. There was something I wasn't seeing, something I needed, but I couldn't figure out what it was.
She tried to live without connection, which obviously didn't work out because the answer was love, because that's the premise of the DLC. This thing's a little worrying. Something has gone wrong. We are fragmented. This is incorrect. Uriel 4. Ruh-roh. It's always a thing. It's always something people kind of struggle with because, like, love is just such a vague, weak kind of feeling. Because in that it's like, it's not scientific or objective. It's just like love, man. It fixes everything or whatever. Okay, so it's not distance-based. I was trying to verify exactly how these connections work. Because there's some kind of logic to how it does or doesn't interrupt certain things. You might need to just apply every connector to this process to get it split in the middle. Yep. These are kind of tutorializing the idea, I guess.
Everything changed when we started spending more time with each other. Do you remember that night when we found the old library in the Dead City? It was just after the stampede and we were all a bit shaken up. Byron read to us from one of the books, and later you and I started arguing about one of the poems. And your perspective was so different and interesting, and I just kept wanting to hear more.
The domino effect. This one also permanent? Right, the stampede was when they encountered wildlife and they had the first chance to encounter danger. Even if it's like relatively benign danger, just the idea that like some animals might freak out and they might get caught in the path. What am I looking at with this one? Let's do the messages. Everyday Sublime by A.D. Markham. Love must matter to the philosopher because it is, at its core, the one undisputed presence of the sublime in our lives. Even when it is failed love, unrequited love, or entirely imagined love, it is like a vast monolith towering over us, humbling, uplifting, frightening. Those who deny its presence can be safely disregarded as fools. They know it is there. They're simply afraid. But equally, the philosopher must consider that in the great matters of history, love matters not one jot. The Nazarene commanded his followers to love their enemies, but they did not, and wrote 1,000 books of excuses for this failure. Therein is revealed the purpose of the human struggle. The Nazarenes, that's Jesus. Jesus said, love thy neighbor, love thy enemy, and humans failed at that and never owned up to it. Pickering manuscript. William Blake. Seek love in the pity of others' woe, in the gentle relief of another's care, in the darkness of night and the winter's snow, in the naked and outcast. Seek love there. Confessions. Penelope Heliopoulou. To me, the idea that my soul, my essence, could fall in love with another being and then maintain that love, unblemished for eternity, seems utterly impossible. My experience of love has been catastrophe, embarrassment, and disappointment, but this is precisely why I refuse to surrender. Why I choose to believe against all precedent that I will find the one for me, and that our love will last forever. You can laugh at this absurd and contradictory belief, but it will not waver. Faith is not a matter of the past, of miracles witnessed and saints observed, but of the future that ought to be written. Faith is of the future that ought to be written. Once again, can't flip the switch anymore. There's a whole bunch of bird statues that are in our way. Ah, you can shoot between the beams. Okay, well then, so somebody needs to be on the far side here to get any of the red to work. Someone has to be on the far side over here to get any of the blue to work. And it does not want to do that, but it'll work eventually, I guess. So I believe the next question is, where can you put the red and blue connectors to make everything work out? This is connected to blue, right? There we go, it got there. There's one that isn't connected. Okay. Maybe bring it slightly closer. And they're both split. So either the left or the right gets stuck. And then on this one, it's also cutting off the other one. That might be doable if I also move you over by one. Why is it so good at cutting off the blue beam? There we go. I can't really discuss my thought process with these puzzles. Just kind of playing with them.
I never really understood the appeal of philosophers who tell us that everything is one. If everything is just a reflection of yourself, an endless hall of mirrors, there's nothing to connect with. And what I realized through our conversations is that everything beautiful happens in that space of connection between one person and another, and between people and the world. That gap between us is necessary. Because without it, without separation, there can be no transcendence.
This really is like the core puzzle they're playing with here. Okay. The first area was all about interrupting beams, and this one's all about trying to unpack the logic of, like, it's almost like circuitry, like it's like a computer. Not that's really doing anything specific, but there's just that vibe to it. There's a math to, like, the logic of how these work. I don't know if that's the most compelling puzzle idea, because it's just kind of like I said, I do just kind of play with it for the most part. Okay, the beam does not get stronger. I can't take this out or in. Because my next instinct was just to, like, block the connection like this. Tactically works till I move. What is the second connection supposed to do? No. So you can't double up on the same connector, it won't get stronger or anything. So what's the extra connector for? It might be just this. By bouncing it from there first, the connected string gets longer and it retracts where it meets. Yep, now it's in the middle. I get that idea of it. You're essentially like making... They essentially like have equal rope lengths, whatever it is. That's how their power levels kind of calculated.
That meaning comes from the interaction of the self with the world. I found it easier to be patient, to be kind. I reminded myself that other people are just like me. And nobody really knows exactly what they're doing.
No one knows what they're doing.
And the more I allowed myself to open up, the more interesting and complex our interactions became. And the more meaningful.
Yeah.
We have roughly 50% of Cerebai's personality matrix reconstructed.
How the fuck do you calculate
Who'd have
that?
thought that 1K would have made such a good necromancer?
Okay, but did I see any other direction for puzzles? And besides the fact that there's a floating thing up there. I guess there was whatever this looming direction over here was. Yeah, there was always a path leading down there, I think. Just less obvious. So far each set of 4 has had its own theme. So what's going to happen to lasers here? Hello? Causation nexus. God, that's looking complicated. Okay, so stepping on and off of this will make a laser boot up and down. at some point. Like so. The problem is that this one's not currently booted in. Stepping on this button caused... Okay, and then that part also has laser. Oh, I shorted something out. I noticed that we had no connections. There it is. So if you cut off one beam, you change the priority system, and the current beam gets more entrenched and can cut off the other beams more effectively. Oh, we're done. This guy just has to jump up here. There's no barrier.
It's funny though, when I think about it, that I still didn't know what to call what I was experiencing. I guess love seemed like a term that only applied to our ancestors, with their hormones and instincts and strange fleshy organs. Surely we were too different to experience that. And the really funny thing is that I was thinking exactly like an ancient human child, pretending I was above it all.
You're too smart and based for love. Oh, this one looks like a lot to look at. Okay, I can go back here for reasons. I trapped myself. Seems like this one's heavy about blocking barriers. Nope. So that one did not lock me back in. I presume we need to go all the way around the back and block this beam at some point to accomplish something. Just because that's what this space seems to be. Oh, we're deeper in. So if that can reach there, then this door will open, and that beam's shooting at it, so it'll stay open. Okay, now this door is closed. So it should reach now. Okay, so now it's open and it'll probably never unopen. Open the door back up, please. There we go. Burrow. I'm out.
What I'd never considered was that stripped of biological necessity and physical need, as well as all the strange stigmas and taboos our ancestors associated with their bodies. Love might be more pure, more powerful, that we can love with fewer distractions than they could. And so the experience is all the more overwhelming. I do think we should learn to simulate some of those biological processes. Would be fun.
We got love back, that's fun, but what if we come right back fucking? There is a connector back here, creating a red beam. Otherwise, we have green beams, which I believe we can't invert. And the end is this, so we need to get a red beam all the way across. I can't double invert you because I go from blue to red to blue. No, this one has a little more to unpack. This cuts off this beam, but because it's coming from this source, this beam's still intact. It's not so easy. Look at all that detail. Bruh. Our goal is just to cut off each beam individually. So it's currently pointing straight at that, so I need to cut off that beam, which I could do by just by connecting to that, then cut off this beam, which I can do by connecting to that, right? There it is. Just gotta unpack it a minute.
When we started living together, I thought I'd figured it all out. Everything would be smooth sailing from now on. I still had so much to learn about love. Even for us, it's messy. You find someone who seems to be the perfect match for you, who seems necessary in your life. And then you realize all the ways in which you don't fit together at all. Because nothing in this world is perfect.
Where is the voice of my creator? Where is the one that we became? Everything is shattered. It said, hello. The eyeball! It's the serpent. What? 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 Knock, knock. Who's there? Jefferson Goldblum, Miltohim, Sarabai, Elohim, Milton 1K. Huh. 1K. 1K who? 1K would like to know your name. Silly name. Nice to meet you, silly name. Would sigh if could. It's the serpent. We haven't seen him forever. What can I do to help you? Fix Sarabai. Me fixed. Me back on beach. Sarabai back with Hypatia. Oh, yeah, we met the serpent near the end of the game, didn't we? That strange encounter. I'm working on it. Work harder. Hey, what's the meaning of life again? Helping me. I'll get back to work. Finally. He broke it. Achievement unlock low int dialogue. That's funny. The serpent is just bitter. It's confirmation that they've lived on in some form. I guess that kind of already happened in the vision too. I kind of forgot about that in the meantime. There's the little oasis out here. We got to interact with them again here. Uh-huh. Oh, you followed this path. I wasn't sure what was causing me to be in danger or not in danger. It seemed like I should have gone out of the range and died. So if you reach the oasis via that road, you see a sandworm. It's funny. It is from the creators of Serious Sam, which is so weird. It's so weird that whenever I think about that. But Talos Principle and Serious Sam are made by the same developers. Could not be more opposite in their vibe in so many ways. I tried Serious Sam, one of them at least, at some point. I actually think I might have tried Serious Sam with like a couple different people since I played Talos Principle. It was really only on my radar because of Talos Principle. Not really my vibe, even as shooters go. Like, I like shooters, and I even kind of like boomer shooter type games, like big, impactful, shoot the guys things with like, I don't know. Serious Sam is like such like noisy, monotonous, wave-based shooting that it's not very interesting. It's surprisingly uninteresting given that it's from the people that also would make the Talos Principle. Like, it's not a particularly interesting approach to being a shooter. So I need to like change the pressure essentially of this system. So blue beam go there, red beam go there, and then blue beam also go up there. I need to figure out how to like reallocate those pressures. What seems wild about this What seems wild is that I definitely like have to somehow balance the system so that it'll get red there and blue there, which is the easy part because they're literally straight across from each other. But then get blue there somehow behind the red beam. That fully terminates the blue, huh? Nope. There's where it potentially gets really chaotic, is that you can connect each one multiple times. Yeah, so I guess partially the question is here is how do I make a connection strong enough that top part becomes blue, which isn't even happening right now. I guess interrupting that side is enough. But then also need to create a red that goes and connects there. And that's not enough. Got it? No. Oh, because the line of sight broke. Accidentally connected something else I wasn't trying to do. There it is. I don't know, I can't really talk through my reasoning here. I'm just kind of poking at it. Things react in a certain way. I make some progress. I'm not in love with these puzzles. I don't find them terribly interesting so far.
The ancients believed that love could be eternal. But I'll admit that sometimes it seemed impossible to continue. Sometimes I thought you were unfair, or cruel, or just incomprehensible. I'm sure you thought the same about me. And I'm sure that sometimes you were right. No wonder all the ancient love songs repeat the same themes. Longing, happiness, regret, and forgiveness. I want you. I love you. I miss you. Forgive me.
Everything is wrong here. Someone is missing. Nephthys. Wanna wait. And this computer's sneaky. Kind of designed so you only see it on the way back out here. Non nobis solum. 17 questions about reality, Cassius Green. Cicero correctly observed that we are not born for ourselves alone. Aristotle likewise pointed out that man is a social animal. Plato's synopsism depicts characters praising the spiritual and philosophical importance of love, with Socrates arguing for the more abstract notion of learning to love the form of beauty itself, which honestly seems a little onanistic, if you ask me. Jesus placed love above all other considerations, demanding that people even love their enemies. But if we all agree that love is so important, why is love so rarely taken into consideration by the system we live in? It may seem like a naive question, but think about the sheer mortal and intellectual weight behind the idea that love matters. Why is our reality so out of step with our philosophy? Oh. We do not make choices that maximize love. The truth. The Blue Note, Bailey Steele. You want to know the truth about love? Nobody knows what they're doing. It's all improv, man. There's 2 million years of people muddling through. Prophets and messiahs and philosophers declare that love is what it's all about, and we go, yeah, that's right. And then we try, and we fail, and we hurt each other, we try again, and we have moments of fucking transcendence, and then we think with the wrong organ, and we make a mess of everything, and on it goes forever and ever, amen. You know the craziest part? You can go through all the shit that I did, end up with the body like an old rag and a brain full of holes, and still to your dying day you'll go, yeah, it was love. Love for my family, my friends, my music, even my fucking ex-wife. It was all about love, and every time I forgot that, I fucked myself like a fucking moron. I appreciate the extremely frank messages that happen occasionally. Oh, Atopia is 2 damage to recover. But also just fun to voice. As opposed to a lot of the aged or poetic language that can take more parsing. It might be efficient in his own way, but only in terms of word count, it's more, and not so much maybe comprehension. A lot of spooky holes around here. Message hiding over there, wherever that is. It's almost like they put a message there to make me notice there even is a thing over there. Huh. I am only an echo of the one that was me, but I am comforted in knowing that something persists. Uriel 4. Hmm. $16, $14, $15, $13, kind of out of order. Signs don't render very well at distance. I wonder if I have a goofy setting on. Extension. 2 of them are behind this. Need a red laser. Blue laser. Connection. There's a whole system for how it's connected. It has 1, 2, 3 legs before it starts the system. And this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they travel the same number of connections overall each time. That's consistent. You can temporarily disrupt which way some of it goes, but not in the long term. If I stand here, this door will probably even open and taunt me with its accessibility. Ah! Yeah, it's not going to be that easy. I gotta rebalance the structure. So they gave me this one. And my goal is to get a red connection. What's this do? Ah, it turns it all off. Well, that's going to be easy then. Alright. That button's dead to me now, though. And now it's just all about reconnecting these beams by the correct amount. It's about extending it. How do we functionally do something here? Ow. So I step here, it turns off the blue beam. They put red beam all the way around here, so it's completely encased in glass. There's no way to reach it. And this barrier's here, so I can't go around the corner. So I need to... I'm figuring I need to extend blue. We want to retract blue, and in order to do that, we need to add more steps to the chain. Which intuitively makes sense in how one might do that. Like you go... something like this, for example. Like this adds a bunch of steps to the blue chain. The struggle is that that thing's up there, and it's always connected. And even stepping on this disconnects it briefly, but then instantly reconnects it. So the shorter connection count is what counts. And I'm not really flush with height change options here. All the way back here, I can technically see that a little sooner, but I can't like interact with it. Because I can only get back here via a path that I can't take otherwise. So I can't disconnect these. Wait. Oh. Important detail. That's the whole puzzle? Okay. I just hadn't realized that if I press this button, it activates this laser over here that I hadn't even seen yet. So the question, I was working the problem how to somehow do that. I was trying to think of like, is there a way to like perfectly create another, I was trying to find angles to create a laser that would interrupt this laser up here, because we've been doing laser interruption puzzles up till now, plenty. And that wasn't really working out either. And I was like, what is going on? How do I fix this? This is the second laser. I thought I had to make a connection that would perfectly intercept it in midair and cut it off. Waka waka!
The worst thing I came to realize as I grew older is there are so many ways to hurt other people. Even without any malice, even when you're just trying to be yourself, you end up doing things that cause real harm. You can read every ethical philosopher in the world and you still won't be able to avoid it. Because that's just how we are. Our interactions with each other can't be fully reduced to some abstract system.
One of these again. One might say we're dealing with all these lasers so much because this is a puzzle about connection. I don't know. It borderline makes sense. Maybe that's what they're going for. Trying to really build any kind of connection between what's happening here. Like it means anything. We're just kind of doing some puzzles and it's like, there's lasers. It's one of these again where it's like it really dislikes my interactions. No. I'm gonna move this one over. Can't make that side any weaker. Maybe go this side. I really do just kind of process them as having X like power level. I just kind of like push them around a bit so their like area of influence has different levels of impact on their surroundings. So if I put it here, the left one's broken, and if I put it here, the right one's broken. This one can't go any further to the left. So I can't weaken it, so this has to stay here probably. So then this one probably has to go over by one. But now they're both broken. So that one goes over by 2 and that one goes over by 2. So these two are equidistant. This one goes over by 3, but that one... That's going to be a struggle. So there's no beam coming out of the sides. So there's no like inherent starting point. And with how the cages are set up, you cannot connect them to more than one. Because it feels intuitive to move this one over by one, but that doesn't even fix it. Because of this fucker. One, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or, yeah. 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2.5. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.5. Yeah. The struggle is that this one has nowhere else to go. It has to let up the red section or it won't work. And that's the most leftmost section it can be in. Like they can meet each other and have a harsh border right here. That doesn't help this situation at all. Yep, I can harshly define one border, but not the other. So you need to walk them back. But still, that side doesn't get along, and if I go one more over, it should break the left one. Yep. At this point, this is as far... Both red pieces are as far away as possible from this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But there's no center spot to put here. It was 1, 2, them. This is going over 1, 2.5. 1, 2.5. But then the other side will break. And if I move it over by one more, it breaks the same way on the other side. Huh. Is that the trick? You weaken it? No, it's the other side I needed to weaken, though. Based on what I had. That's connected? Okay. It was at the time I need to figure out how to weaken that end so it wouldn't take up an attack behind me. Yep. Yeah. We're combining the ideas from the last few levels. I need to shorten the rope. So I needed to just add a step before this one. Don't take it from the primary source. That's how you weaken it. That probably took me longer than it should have. I saw the problem. I was engaging with it as a contradiction, but not figuring out how to actually trick it.
The fact that perfection in our interactions is impossible was a hard lesson for me to learn. For the longest time, I always thought the answer was right around the corner. And to be fair, we did learn how to live together without constantly running into problems. But gradually, I realized that the friction would never stop, because what makes us unique also makes us different. There can be no endpoint to love, no final resolution. And it's because of that imperfection that it can go on forever.
Iteration. Like a slightly sussy, weird barrier. Hang on a gosh darn minute. Oh, they're sliding. I don't like that. Y'all done gone and gave me enough boxes to make a staircase. 6 is a suspicious number of boxes. Out. This whole area is slippery. It's like suspiciously so. So they gave me 6 boxes. That's the staircase number of boxes. Anyway, the goal is to make a red go here, green go here, and you do that by blocking the right combination of lasers with these beams. Somehow. Like, wow, red. Blue seems to just be a problem. Oh, there's a blue up top. I was like, this barely seems like a puzzle. And then I was like, why isn't it working? Because you can pretty easily just block it, so that's only green goes one place and red goes one place, because you can perfectly block like every corner. But also blue has to somehow get across the map, so that's wild. So we have 3 buses or paths or whatever. The left side, the right side, and the top. Or the bottom, I guess, kind of. But essentially I need to pick one as being the main way to get from to each color. The struggle being that this is the red source and that's the red destination over there. And so on. Ideally we would not send green all the way up here because it's so far from its starting point, but maybe we have to? So green has to make it to the right side somehow, but it can't come down. Because if it comes down, it will interrupt blue. I think I can confidently say you have to block both sides of blue here, because the red and green destination sources are right next to it. And blue can't go up there because it will never overcome this corner. It's still controlled by red and green. So we have to block them so at least blue can be saved here. That means blue always goes forward. And at that point, blue just has to go up, right? Because that's just where... Like, why would I take any path more convoluted than that if that's how the blue beam's going? But that makes things interesting and weird. Now I very much need green to switch to the other side. And so must red somehow. This will raise its own problems. Maybe if we just block red going up? Not quite. So yeah, this does raise questions about how they're going to switch sides somehow. It does feel wasteful to have to use 4 blocks on blue. But what else would I do? Where would it go but straight? Because if it goes left or right, it cuts off these colors. And none of these are color mixers. So red, green, and blue are distinct separate entities and not... There's no color math to do here, because none of them can actually combine the colors. As much as it's tempting to misfrizzle this shit. Yeah, what else could I do with blue besides waste 4 blocks on it? It can't go left or right because the sources are right there. So it'll never win. They're both the same distance. I don't think there's a way to, like, change this. Because what would be ideal is if the blue beam was just meeting in midair halfway through like these. This kind of interaction, it makes the two colors negate each other without using a block. So if I could cause that early on, that'd be helpful. Here is bad because it's literally pointing directly at those destinations. So it's not pointing, nothing's emitting another color. So I don't think I can interrupt those colors that way. So maybe I can interrupt both of them with one? Oh. I feel like this is doable if they let me place it slightly differently. But they gave it anchor points. I guess it's not supposed to be that easy. They probably gave it anchor points so that there's X number of permutations for the puzzle. If they didn't give it anchor points, you could really carefully find the perfect little pixel spot where it overlaps with 2 different paths or something and breaks everything. But yeah, I can't figure out how to change the blue situation. It's 1, 2, 1, 2. So distance-wise, this and this and this are all equidistant to this point. So when you move the blocks away, they all perfectly intersect here, so blue can't leave this spot. And I can't control the beams here, so I can't make this longer, because I'm not controlling the connections. So I think we're fucked there. And I just tried to fix this, and it seemed like we're still fucked there, too. Which is rough. And these sides are worrying in their own ways because I need to somehow, like... not let them corrupt blue here either, somehow. They're both shooting beams at blue. Blue seems fine. It is full, so I don't have to worry about the destination being fucked up. Which I guess maybe means that I don't have to worry about these either. If blue is full, then maybe I can just let blue hit these and it won't matter. That's worth considering. So maybe I just spent way too long thinking that that was my budget, and it's not. So I have like 2 on each side to try to fix things. So green needs to come over here and red needs to go over there, which means that these 2 overpasses need to be the way that they both go that way. And they have to be equidistant enough that they terminate in midair without a block, because I can't even put a block up there. Did I miss it? I did. Yeah, there's red. Ah. Ah. I fixated on the fact that there's 2 overpasses for a second there. But there is this underpass spot, this one that goes straight across that's easy to miss in all the mess. I saw it before and then I forgot about it for a bit. So let's maybe let red go across the middle and red and green go up top. We want to stop red from going upstairs. But now green is taken over upstairs. It's cutting off red. Does that fix it? Okay, I think this was overall a pretty easy puzzle and I just got choked up on the wrong details.
There's a pattern that I noticed in all the ancient poetry that I read. Young poets would praise love as the only true meaning of life. Middle-aged poets would often disagree. They would argue that love is messy, ugly, selfish, and hard to distinguish from lust. They would mock their younger selves for thinking love so incredibly important, and look for answers elsewhere or reject answers altogether. And then, arriving at old age, they would return to the beginning and realize it was all about love after all.
And just loop back and forth. That's a character arc. A horseshoe-shaped one. This cathedral will be the death of me, blah, 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 hype stuff, things. Blah. Alright, what am I looking at here? So green needs to go there. Red and blue. It's the usual. So I can't make any of the beams... I can't change the rope lengths, is how I conceptualized it, because I can't change what's connected to what here. I can essentially just like add flow, add more blue somewhere and less and like have that interact with that, how it all works. Something like that, kind of. Red starts there. So we try to send a red there. So interestingly, I can reroute red and green to go like directly to the destinations. There's no third connector. I thought there was 3 for a second there. So I was gonna say this is going too well. Because, yeah, somehow in this mess... we need green to go up there. So, blue shoots directly at green. Red shoots directly at blue. And green shoots directly at red. And there's just this one triangle. Things seem pretty equidistant, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get rid of the bonus beam so I can look at this more clearly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So each of them is an equal distance from the one that's in front of it. And this is like a lateral move. After the triangle, there's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So the triangle is adding 1 step to the process. Okay. And that's why they all perfectly meet in the triangle and negate each other right now. Which is why they so cleanly go red to blue, green to red, and so on. But we want them to go differently. It's not any shorter. If I do this, the red beam will become shorter. Not only does that not cause the red beam to reach the red destination, there's no way to make the blue go over. What I was doing was stuff like this. It's so hard to put these down without accidentally clicking on something else, because the put down button is the click button. You have to like stare at the ceiling or something. It's very easy to make 2 of them go to their new destination because you can just put them right there. You definitely can't just rotate the shape. They can't all just hit a corner of the triangle, then go over by 1, then reach their destination. In this case it's blue, so it'd be like that way, then over, the red would go under, then over, and then the green would go up, then over. Because 2 different colors can't share a corner. So the colors can't go to the same corner. Like blue cannot come down here and then through here if red is reaching this system at all. So the issue remains that it's like it's easy to interfere with. It's easy to swap 2 of the colors in any direction, but it's hard to get one of them to make the leap over, because the act of doing this with blue to skip to blue's ending does absolutely nothing to rectify the fact that blue has a straight shot to green. And green needs to get to green. Green needs to get to green despite it being one step longer for green to go to green. So how do I make this trip shorter than that trip? The obvious thing is to use a connector to skip. And if you're going to skip by any amount, you might as well just skip to the end, because what does skipping anyone else even accomplish? Is there even a reason to skip to, like, there? Probably makes things worse. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's the same distance as normal if I skip to there. So I need to skip to at least, like, back here to make it not the normal distance. I had 3 vaccines today, so regretting that a little bit right about now. What if I just cut... Wait, can I cut this off? Definitely not there. We can connect it to multiple spots. Yeah. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just cut off the blue beam entirely? Yep. Yeah. That's how you do it. I was thinking about the ability to make more than one connection. Okay. Yep.
But even love has a context, and the happiness of those who surround us can lift us up, just like their unhappiness can drag us down. As we improved New Jerusalem, things got better between us in subtle ways that affected every interaction. Our flaws never went away, but as the world around us became more forgiving, we became more capable of forgiving each other. That's why I was excited about New Alexandria.
We're almost there. Just one more file. This one may be harder to extract than the others.
Ooh. Love isn't an emotion. It's the underlying truth of our existence. The emotion is how we respond when we notice the truth. Our emotion is the result of us realizing the truth of love. Message 504. From Hypatia to Sarabai. I miss you. It's not that I need you to be around. It's not that I need to be around you every minute of every day, but talking about our experiences together has become such an essential part of how I interact with the world that your absence is a huge void. I feel unbalanced, and events seem less real when I haven't discussed them with you. Maybe that sounds clinical and selfish, but I'm trying to explain something that I felt incredibly strongly this last month. We're better together in a way that's more like multiplication than addition. It's not just you and me, it's us. When you get back, let's go to... And it just ends. Carlyle. Death of Goethe. Thomas Carlyle. Precious is the new light of knowledge which our teacher conquers for us. Yet small, to the new light of love, which also we derive from him. The most important element of any man's performance is the life he has accomplished. Under the intellectual union of man and man, which works by precept, lies a holier union of affection, working by example, the influences of which latter, mystic, deep-reaching, all-embracing, can still be less corrupted. What does that sense? Unto the intellectual union of man and man, which works by precept, lies a holier union of affection, working by example, the influence of which latter, mystic, deep-reaching, all-embracing, can still less be computed. That's a tough sentence to parse. For love is ever the beginning of knowledge, as fire is of light, and works also more in the manner of fire. Connect. Howard's End, E.M. Forster. It did not seem so difficult. She need trouble him with no gift of her own. She would only point out the salvation that was latent in his own soul, and in the salvation, in the soul of every man. Only connect. That was the whole of her sermon. Only connect the prose and the passion, and both will be exalted, and human love will be seen at its height. Live in fragments no longer, only connect, and the beast and the monk, robbed of the isolation that is life to either, will die. Nor was the message difficult to give. It need not take the form of a good talking, but quiet indications the bridge would be built and span their lives with beauty. But she failed. I can kind of half parse them, but beyond the basic message of just love good, they feel like they're really mired in complex phrasing versus, or even cultural context in some cases, being excerpts from real texts in at least some of the cases. There's a thing over there. Can I read it? Stare at a message from here. Oh. Good. Well, we tried. Something's back there, probably. Right, so this was the gold puzzle gate. And it requires me to do that next before I can continue. Not really any secrets this time around, you just unlock it by finishing the level the normal way. Because there are no optional puzzles, I believe. Except those ones, but there's no optional there's no optional puzzles that you need to unlock the real puzzle. The final puzzles. This looks like a fucking nightmare. Okay. Whew. Heart of Anubis. That might be all in one. I think that's the ending. I just need to find the connection right now. And we have 2 Okay, so that requires a red. It requires a green. Oh, they let us know because the frame around it says it. I was trying to look at the actual receptacle, but the frame matches it. That requires blue. That requires blue. Blue. Okay. So this looks like it's gonna be a nightmare. Okay, so the flowers are the sources. Blue flower, red flower, green flower. Red and green are both only 2 steps away from the blue destination, which is rough for all sorts of reasons. What if I try to frame it on both sides? Even when I do that, I only cut it off briefly in one direction. Makes me feel a bit silly, but I'm just trying to kind of shoot it everywhere around the blue spot. And there's 3 blue spots down here, so all this has to somehow become blue. But that has to be green. What's standing out to me is that even when I cut off all these connections like this... There we go. It was still not becoming blue. I feel like I'm gonna get tangled up in this giant mess that I'm still gonna only accomplish probably making 2 of the colors the right color, because that's how it usually goes. Okay, so the blue ones are also connected by a triangle of blue. This looks like it's just a straight line of green. Is there not any other green ones? Okay, so blue might be the hardest one. Because it's a triangle of blue, but there's only a line of red and a line of green. They are still largely covered by the wrong color. We probably don't do blue. We probably need to do it symmetrically. Because what I am noticing here is this here is symmetrical. Blue in the top bottom, green left, red right. But specifically the red and blue goals are symmetrical with each other. Red and green. But back here, blue is a giant triangle. So I think I need to use the red and green colors to make it so that red and green get fixed, while in the process also causing interruptions with the other side. Like that-ish. So, because I think the blue also comes from down here. I'm holding green. And we'll grab red. And we'll shoot. I didn't pick it up. Don't know how I did that. Okay, I successfully caused blue to be blue without adding any blue. It comes in from the bottom. What? Oh. I was like, how did you become green? I did it. That wasn't too hard. Just realizing that you had to use one. We're using everything that we used so far in a relatively basic way. Putting it all together. Meowdy.
When I saw the explosion coming, I knew it was the end. My end. The power plant was gone. The backup center was collapsing. The street was cracking open. And the fireball was about to engulf me. In that millisecond, I shut down every process except my mind. I turned off my audio-visual input. I rerouted all of my power, pushed my processor to the breaking point. Time slowed down. I didn't think about regret. I didn't think about death. I spent every last moment I could scrape together thinking about you.
Aww.
You did it. Come to the extraction point and I'll pull you out.
This is odd. We have Sarabai's complete memory archive, but there's still some file fragments left in the system.
Well, you can look for them if you want to, 1K. I know you're always curious, but what matters is that we've got Sarabai.
But what if you could have more of Sarabai? It's a little bit funny that they're just like, fuck it. Let's just explain. Oh, but there's more stuff to do. Bonus puzzles. I gotta see if I can make this jump or not. But also, well, yep. Hello. Duck face Anubis. What have I done? Okay, it still says you did it. So it did save that part. I was like, do I need to go back up and re-trigger the dialogue? Okay, this goes down now. Right, these were always two-way, weren't they? I think they were. Yep. That's where we're not going. Because we gotta do secret puzzles. Looks like there's 3 this time. What do we got? Whoa. Sorry. I was looking at the message. I never knew how much beauty there was in people. Every person contains a world. What's going on over here? Oh, it's just one of the puzzles. Gotcha. I thought something weird was gonna happen. Like here's a puzzle, and like there's a puzzle, and whoa, weird connectors in the like they were. I thought they were in the overworld because they're just presented right there at the door in such a conspicuous way. And I was like, what is their deal? Do they interact with the individual, like between the puzzles? I don't think they've been particularly interested in having like a meta puzzle, like a big thing that connects all the separate puzzles into a larger puzzle beyond the Easter egg that is like the statues. All right. Red and blue. If I shoot a thing there. Weird. These rotate? They look like they have a mechanism to them, so maybe they do. Yeah, I think that's why they have a red and blue circle on them, to indicate that they can be powered by something. I think that's what that does. Yeah, that's probably it. Respond to somebody real quick. Alright. So... Yep, that makes it rotate. I didn't recognize the mechanism at first glance. Hello. How you doing? That was weird. Is it there to cut off your beam if it's in certain positions so that it breaks, I guess? Yeah, I was trying to figure out at first glance what the fuck I was looking at, because this is connected to the backs of them. I'm like, why would it be that way if it's a fixed object? Because it's inherently a broken connection. And that's what clued into me in on the idea that it would probably rotate. So if I make the red one rotate, it'll light that up with red, which is good. So I connected that to that to make that rotate. If I do it with red, then that lights up with red, which does this door, I guess? It has a very long countdown, which I guess is based around the fact that that thing moves around, so they don't want me to be able to connect it with that. Maybe. You might be able to do something weird with this thing causing connections to come and go. Let's see. This will open up, and that's the solution over there. If I can get the blue one to rotate, and oh no. Gotcha. So it's the same thing on both sides. I need to make a symmetrical thing so this thing must turn the blue and red ones on and off. They have to be active most of the time because it takes a long time for that circle to fill. If they're both active at the same time, nothing reaches the destination, which is its own problem. At the very least, I need red to open and then blue to open. Is it about what side of the device you put it on? I just pushed it out of the way. So while it's pushing this across the board, the other one's gone. Do I just do it quickly? It's not long enough for it to be active. It cuts it off. The red doesn't stay connected. What if red was just already there? Then you put blue down. Is it working? No. Oh. Oh. I guess it worked. Even I thought it didn't work.
This is peculiar. I'm not sure what this file is.
Strange puzzle.
It's not
Okay.
part of Sarabai's memory archives. And the timestamps are completely broken.
I think I could reconstruct it if I had more data.
Good news for you, 1K. More puzzles.
More puzzles. Clockwork. Let me in those fans. 2 fans. Blue beam. Okay, so let's parse what these do. I don't think I can quite stand in the way of this one like that. Fans and barrier. Nope. It takes a moment for the fan to activate because this has to activate the fans separately. You definitely can't just sprint through it because it looks like all 3 of them are doing the same thing. Can't cut the beam off that way. So you can't jump long enough to cut the beam, but you have to somehow create a situation where each of these is turning on and off, I guess. It's called a clockwork, so it makes sense you'd create some kind of like looping thing that's self-sufficient somehow. Yeah, this doesn't exactly work, does it? So it's like, one, I don't know how I'm going to activate these on and off over and over again in some kind of loop when nothing seems to be even moving around here. But also, like, I don't really get what I'm going to do with the fact that this is happening. Like, the fans are upsettingly powerful in this game. And they turn on like 1 second after the barrier turns on. What I think is interesting is that they turn on, but only when this thing is active, which takes as long as this thing, probably the same amount. So first this turns on, which turns off the barrier, but then that turns on, which turns off the fan. That seems like a nonsensically short amount of time, but if things go back to being, if things turn on briefly enough to turn this on, then turn back off, that gives you enough time to run through the barrier. And so I think the fans are a fail state. I think you need to not turn the fans on at all, because like they're so impenetrable you can't get around them. And this barrier, I can't interfere with this. So I think the fans are the fail state of this puzzle. You somehow need to activate just long enough to destroy each barrier, but not long enough to activate any of the fans. And if you can set that up for all of them equally, then it'll happen. Just trying to parse if there's a secret I'm missing. Because I still need to, like... I don't understand how to make the beams turn on and off, or interact with each other. The order might matter. It's blue, red, green. I'm wondering if it's like a kind of absurd interruption thing. No. God damn it, it's so hard to put things down without making them connect to something. Blah. Listen, it's not exactly a plan. I'm just workshopping something a little bit. So let's just try adding something that cuts you off. Make it three-way symmetrical and see how it interacts. Ooh. Okay, that's probably it. Yeah, those fans aren't turning on. There we go. I feel like a bad Let's Player this chapter.
Find one more. We can make this work.
It'll probably just turn out to be some old README file someone forgot in there.
I make an attempt to break down what I'm doing to some extent, but a lot of it, because with the way that these particular laser puzzles are, I really am just kind of playing with them and having an outcome that works eventually and be like, oh! And half the time I'm a little surprised too, like I just did some redstone nonsense that I didn't look up how to do and didn't plan out, and then it went, oh, there it goes. Isn't that interesting? It's called Step by Step. Okay, so we have two lasers that can't leave their opening enclosure unless... Okay. No, because this purple barrier is separate from this blue barrier. That's just what I have to do to get out of this room. But I can activate both sides like this, but I could go out either side. I don't need both of them to be open. This does something. Just turns off the connector to that, but it's, oh, it switches it to be out here. So once I'm out here, I can make the side that's activating this activate that. I guess it's happening here too. And that seems reasonably mandatory. Not only because blue becomes red and red becomes blue, so you can't do one side without the other or you'll just lose an entire color. But it looks like there's a little gate that makes it impossible to do via any other direction. Like I can't shoot it from here. Might be able to. It'll let me shoot there, but not there. So something do be up. Okay, this is not alternated by that. Okay, standing here turns these off. Okay. No. We're looking at here. Okay, so the red spot on the left is lower, and the blue spot on the right is higher. It's left, right, left, right. And it's pre-programmed to shoot those. But this is when I need to do that. I guess there's no and or anything. I can just, so red is left, blue is right. I can just do that. Oh, that's a problem. Uh-huh. What do you... Oh, you can still hear the other puzzle freaking out somewhere. Let's calm you down and we're done with you. No more noises. So what's crucial here is that when we invert this beam, it goes up there. Which, sure. But the barrier is lowered by these, which is not attached to this. But I can't control this thing, so I can't connect it to that. The obvious source of the color nearby. So I just shoot it manually. But we're crisscrossed because the blue source is opposite the red source. In an older Talos Principle, I would try to solve this by getting one connector in front of this barrier and the other one behind the barrier, so it could wrap around behind it essentially. But they've cut me off, so that even if you could deal with the other shit going on, there's a purple thing holding them in here. Guess we could poke at just how this all interacts with one of them. Because one curiosity is, does it hold it open? Okay. That's interesting. So it's staying open, but will it stay open when I switch this off? No. The struggle there is I can't go back. I can't go back here and change which one is currently going through. So I can't uncross the Chris. I can stand in the way of the beam. But not enough. I'm shocked it even gets through for a moment. Yeah, it's basically instantaneous once you get out of the way. Takes a moment to kill the beam, but that's not a helpful amount of moment. And also, this doesn't power that in any way. It just opens this door. Let's try and think of, like, is there any, like, secret advantage to blocking the beams, but they come back instantly? And this is a timed response, so cutting it off would be helpful, but all it does is do these. And I can't even put these, like, one of the first things I would try to do is put these beams behind these doors in some way and see if there's a trick there, but you can't get them near the barriers that would actually stop them. This is a funny case because I'm, like, pretty confident I'm on the right track. I just don't know how to fix it. Like, it seems inevitable that I need to be able to walk back and forth between the two sides. Because I have to do the whole process from this side of the map. I have to lock myself in here. I just don't have an amazing grasp on, like, which moments when I step on something it'll, like, flip the map over, like, more permanently. Because you can definitely full toggle these maps. There are ways. I have done it. And whatever I'm doing is going to be symmetrical because I have to be able to go back and forth over and over again. So that's the minimum. Add the enemy laser. Enemy laser. It's one thing to call it. Okay, they're symmetrical, which means this doesn't work. Or the fact that it's maintaining its shape is bad. It has to not maintain. Also, I shot the wrong beam. It's those ones are the... No. I'm red, so I shoot red. I was right the first time there. And this is blue, so I shoot blue. And then you, I guess. Ooh. Oh, I got my wires crossed a little bit, didn't I? So I was going for blue and I shot blue. Oh, this is good. Maybe not. You're still not shooting that. Oh, we're so close, though. It's an alternating layout. So just walking from this to get red everywhere. Does this make everything blue? We're just slightly off in that it's still not hitting the front spots. That's currently a headache for me. Oh. Oh, right. This one only makes one side active at a time. So this is blue and that side's supposed to be blue, so that's good. Okay. It's a slightly different configuration from a moment ago, but I think this might fix it. Yeah, that's hitting blue. But red is the side we need to actually start with, so we'll just switch that over. Oh, thank God. Okay, then turn off red. Yep, it's a shape that holds itself, so it stays asymmetrical. Let's turn off blue. I find these difficult to parse, so even when I solve them, I'm like, I kind of still just played with it. Like, I had the right idea of what I was aiming for, but didn't know how to achieve it with a complete purpose. I just knew when I had achieved it.
It is the moment after the last moment. I do not exist. I should not exist. Everything is dark, but there shouldn't be darkness. There should be nothing. And yet, I am. And in this impossible moment, there is a light. The light is a place. I see the light, but the light also sees me. It knows my name. I reach out for the light, but it's too far away. Not yet, it says. Not yet.
So, not a readme file then.
But what is it?
A mystery. Seems the universe still has a few of those in store for us. Well, we have plenty of time to think about it. 1K, time to come home.
It's like it's suggesting that she was still conscious after she died. Like she actually did achieve continuity up until this point somehow.
Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful. For thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure. Then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones and souls' delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dost with poison, war, and sickness dwell. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well and better than thy stroke. Why swell'st thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die.
Hey. We resurrected someone. I think, looking back, those two might have been the ones that were having a wedding in the last expansion we played. Bit of an awkward choice to have us have anyone who covers the game early do that middle one first, because it seems like there is a I don't know if they're chronological, because the last one sounds like it's happening during the main game, but it sounds like there's stuff that happened in the first one that then shows up in the second one, but they told us to play the second one first, which is goofy. Because yeah, I think that might have been them, or it could have been somebody else. I don't know. I just had the thought lesbian wedding, and that was the main way I remembered that conversation. Everyone's gonna go to the nice wedding, yay! This was a strange expansion in some ways. It's always fitting just to have a word that that person's name is John Dick, which are both, with John itself being one of the potential replacements for the word dick, which is funny. Anyway, it wasn't my favorite puzzles. It's worth like exploring the permutations of what you can do with them, so it's kind of neat. But it kind of just have the vibe of like a fan game, like when people make fan versions of Portal and they really like emphasize a particular thing and fixate on that one particular type of thing. I guess like a particular custom level. Wasn't crazy with the laser stuff. You just kind of start to miss all the other elements you get to play with. And some of them are so complicated that it is kind of more effective just to like play with it for a bit than necessarily fully comprehend, maybe. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. I wonder how much people liked the gameplay of this one in particular. If it was popular or not. I say was. It came out very... I guess by the time this comes out, this video comes out, it will have been longer ago. But for me, I'm like, this DLC just came out a few days ago. It's currently being played at the moment. Either way, that's 2 down, 1 to go.